Today, there are 2 million descendants of French Canadian immigrants living in New England. These are our stories. Welcome to the French Canadian Legacy Podcast.
Venez tous jeunes filles et garçons, je vais vous raconter l'histoire de notre immigration ici au USA, de grands aventuriers, de pays étrangers.
Bonjour everyone, this is Melody and we're back with French Canadian news. We'll start with an article on Franco-American news and culture by Juliana Leroux titled Congratulations and Merci to Marie-Claude Francoeur. After 10 years at the helm of the Quebec government office in Boston, Miss Marie-Claude Francoeur has been appointed as Assistant Deputy Minister for Relations with the United States, the Americas, Economic Affairs, and Strategic Intelligence starting June 21st, 2024. In this role, Ms. Francoeur will continue to work on U.S.-centric affairs. Check out the article for the full press release about Marie-Claude Francoeur's new role. Next up, we have an addition to the FAC blog, A Manchester, Franco-American Culture in New Hampshire, by Caleb Howell Lawrence. Check out Caleb's personal experience of Franco-American culture and speaking French in New Hampshire, specifically in Manchester, where the Franco-American Center is located. There's a new post on Query the Past by Patrick Lacroix titled, New Frontiers in Franco-American History. Patrick writes, New works have shown that we need not envy the research endeavors of the 1980s and 90s that led to landmark studies still in use today. Such recent publications are perhaps more impressive for the fact that they arise from a much less favorable academic and cultural climate. Check out the full post on Query the Past. Last but not least, there's a new episode of Les Aventures d'un Québécois, capsule number 37, with your host, Luc Trepanier. Check out Luke's recent trip to Syracuse, New York, where he talks about his experience visiting the city center, downtown, and more. He promises that this is not a baseball episode, but there might be a little bit of baseball in there. And now, on to events. Are you watching the PWHL 2024 playoffs? Catch free live streams of Team Montreal vs. Boston on the PWHL YouTube channel on Tuesday, May 14th at 7 p.m., Thursday, May 16th at 7 p.m., and Sunday, May 19th at 7 p.m. All times are in Eastern Daylight Time. Is anyone going to these games in person? Let us know in the comments, and get ready to cheer for Montreal. Or Boston, we won't judge. On May 18th from 5 to 7:30 p.m., come to the Fleur de Lis Challenge, a French-themed baking competition put on by the Franco-American Center in Manchester and sponsored by the Quebec Government Office in Boston. This year's location is the Spotlight Room, 96 Hanover Street, Manchester. Buy a guest ticket and cheer on the bakers, vote for the People's Choice Award, and get to sample their creations afterward. On May 20th, come to 2 free back-to-back events. The Merci Train boxcar tour in Manchester starting at noon to 2 p.m., and a Lafayette Day celebration in Concord at the New Hampshire State House from 3 to 5 p.m. Come learn about the friendship between France and the U.S. in the tour, and then come to the State House to learn about General Lafayette's legacy in American history with a proclamation by Governor Chris Sununu. Please RSVP for either or both of these events. On June 7th at 1 p.m., join the fun at the Josée Vachon House Party, where she will be playing French-Canadian rhythms and songs at the Franco-American Center at Crossland Hall on the UMaine campus in Orono, Maine. On June 22nd from 3 to 7 p.m., check out the Leominster French Canadian Festival, where you'll find plenty of French-Canadian foods and other vendors. I plan on being there for my blog, Modern Francos, so come check it out and look for updates on their Facebook page. That's all I've got for you this time. Everything I've covered today will be linked in the French Canadian Legacy Podcast episode description. Merci for listening.
Thank you, Melody. Now, one of the initial thoughts I had when we first started this podcast 100 episodes ago was to combat the idea that the Franco-American presence in New England is essentially dead. If it's not dead, it's at least dying. I mean, that's something that I heard all the time. So it is always exciting for me when we come across a new giant event taking place in New England and new people willing to invest large amounts of time into these events, new festivals, new programming. And that's what we have in this episode next week. We're going to be speaking with Joseph Bolton. Now, Joseph is starting up a festival in Leominster, Massachusetts, like a Franco-American festival. So we're gonna hear all about that. We're gonna hear all about his personal story, which is actually super, super interesting. He's got an amazingly impressive background. And so to hear his kind of voyage from how he got from what his background and his professional life, his military life, to where he is now, investing all this time into pulling off a festival in Leominster and kind of his rediscovery of his background. Very, very exciting to hear, as well as a project he's doing to put together a book, which I think you guys are going to find pretty interesting. So it's a really fun conversation with a really impressive individual. Next week's episode is going to be with Joseph Bolton. All right, cool. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of bonus questions?
Absolutely. Ask anything you want.
But I know you're a big fan of hiking and skiing. I noted. And so
Yes.
I wanted to ask, what are some of your favorite places to do this in Quebec? If I was going to head up, I'm into the big outdoors, what should I be looking for in La Belle Provence?
Where I've gone right now, concentrating my effort is Mount Orford National Park.
Okay,
And
where
it's
is
right
this?
near Magog, Quebec. From Leominster, if you Google it up, it's 3 hours, 45 minutes drive. So if you live in New Hampshire, it's even less than that.
Nice.
It's probably a day trip. But there's this, in the summertime, there's this huge mountain with lakes, campgrounds, hundreds of miles of hiking trails, canoeing, all the kind of things that you'd want to do, chance to see moose and bears, all kind of stuff. And that's a great place to go in the summer. So I'm going through and I'm hiking all there. There's also they have a 90-mile trail that they do in the summertime. I can't remember. It's like Le Cirque de l'Abbey, I think it is. There's an abbey up there, the Abbey of Benoit. And they use as a starting and finish point for this 90-mile circuit that people do in the summertime.
That's wild.
Up there in Magog. So I'm not going to do that, but
Yeah, me neither.
Skiing, I love to ski, so I go up to Mount Orford. And a lot of people, I think it's a secret that's not quite out yet for New Englanders. You can go to Jay Peak and pay $150 for a lift ticket, or you can drive up to Magog and take advantage of that less crowds and the exchange rate and pay like maybe $65 US for a lift ticket. And you have this great mountain with 3 mountains that are right next to each other. The lifts are located right next to each other. You don't have to go very far to go different mountains. They got greens, blues, blacks, and double black diamonds up there. Some scary stuff up there. Not for me. I don't do that. I just did the greens and blues.
Sure.
And then when I was up this past weekend, I went skiing up there. And I also did a meetup with a group in Montreal. Again, this is me. I like making connections. So I signed up for a meetup for a snowshoe event.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I just met people. So it was great. I got to meet these people coming from Montreal. And we went on a 2-mile snowshoe crampon hike right there in Mount Orford National Park. And it was great. I got to practice my French with them. And I just love, again, meeting new people and friends. The village of Magog is beautiful to walk around in. Nice downtown area with restaurants, shops. That's like my favorite place to go right now. So I tell people, if you're gonna go to Quebec, Montreal's nice. I've stayed in Montreal recently as well, back in September, and Quebec City is beautiful. But there's this real great place that a lot of people don't know about. It's called Magog, and it's really easy to get to. It's not that far for us who in New England. It's just over the border. You can almost literally see the border, south of the border. When you get top of the mountain, you can see it, Jay Peak, all the way down into Vermont. So it's that close. So that's my favorite place to go right now. I do love also going to Montreal for Montreal Alouettes games as well. One of my dreams also to go to Montreal and attend a Montreal Canadian and Bruins game. I just think that would be so epic.
Yes, for sure.
And I'll probably even wear a Bruins jersey just
I would.
Because that's how you meet people, right? Yeah. How do I get people to talk to me at a Montreal Canadiens game and Bruins? Well, that's easy. I just wear a Bruins jersey. I'll get a lot of people willing to talk to me. So I'd love to do that. I've not done that yet. So that's one of my dreams as well. But it is. And don't be intimidated by, even if your French is not that good, Don't feel intimidated by that. Just if you know a little French, just do your best. People appreciate you trying. They're probably going to want to see that as an opportunity to talk, practice their English anyway with you. Sometimes I find that frustrating because I'll ask for a cup of coffee, je voudrais, café chaud avec de la crème sans sucre, and I'll get it perfectly, and they'll go, okay, that'll be $4.65.
Yep.
So what gave me away? Did my accent give me away? Well, obviously,
Yeah.
but don't be intimidated by that. Even if you don't know any French, just talk to people. People are really friendly up there, and don't be afraid to tell them about your connections. If you're French Canadian, if you have Quebec ancestry in Quebec or New Brunswick, talk to people. Don't be shy. That's my advice if you go up there.
Now our fathers look at us and sigh with despair, to think that everything they love we simply do not share. But the spirit never dies, our culture will survive. Each of us must choose how much to keep alive. Each of us must choose how much to keep alive.
Special thanks to Josée Vachon for providing the music. You can find more about her at joseevachon.com. This podcast was produced and edited by Mike Campbell. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at fclpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FCL Podcast for more information about the topics discussed. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to this episode.